Hi guys, welcome to Craft Time again with Miss Sarah. I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite games. You can see I have my favorite game character t-shirt. Do you know who this is? Sonic the Hedgehog. And I want to show you how to make one of my favorite games. I like to play this game with my son. This is memory. Right? So this is when you have cards and you put them face down and you have to turn them over and try to make matches. I'm going to show you how to make your own memory game. So for this, you're going to need a blank sheet of paper, and it doesn't matter if it has lines. You just want a blank piece of paper. And then you want a dark piece of paper, maybe some construction paper like what I have, or you can take a piece of paper and color it with a dark crayon, maybe a black or a dark purple, and you want to press really hard because you don't want to be able to see the picture through the paper. So that's why you want to pick kind of a dark paper. Okay. Now to draw your images, you're going to need a pencil with a really good eraser, which this one has. And then to outline your drawings, you're going to want to use a dark marker or a Sharpie, like what I have here. To glue them on your cards, you're going to want to use glue, right? Any kind of glue will work. I happen to have this stick glue or glue stick. And then to color it in, you can use crayons or you can use markers, whatever you want. I'm going to use crayons today just to make it a little bit faster. And then as always, you're going to want to make sure that you have some newspaper, right? Something that you can put underneath your project while you're working on it so that you don't mess up the table or whatever surface that you're working on. And then to cut everything out, you're going to want to make sure that you have a really good pair of scissors. Okay, I'm going to be borrowing these from our craft cupboard today. All right, so I'm going to give you a moment, let you collect those items, and I will see you in a few minutes to get started. Welcome back. So we're going to start with our piece of paper here, and I've got my blank paper. We're going to start by folding that in half. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure you get the corners as close as you can. Just line up the edge. Line up the edges, and then you're going to bring a nice crease and across, right? And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to fold it in half again, going down. So we'll fold it again. Make a nice good edge. So you should have something that looks like this, be folded over like that, okay? Now we're going to take it and fold it in half this way. So you should have something that looks like that. Okay. Go ahead and make sure that you have nice strong creases, and then go ahead and open it up. So you should have something that looks like this. Now you're going to notice that along those creases you actually have squares. So this is where we're going to put our images. Whatever we put in this top box is going to go in the bottom box, and the same going all the way down. So we're going to have 8 cards total, or 4 pairs. 2 that are the same, 2 that are the same, 2 that are the same, and 2 that are the same. Okay, so that's a total of 4 pairs, right? Each column is going to be 1 image, but 8 cards total. All right, so now you can decide what do you want to draw on them. I'm going to use a pencil first, and then I'm going to outline it in my Sharpie. You can do, now this is the fun part because you can do this really a lot of different ways. You can do a holiday theme one. So if you wanted to do for Thanksgiving, you could do all Thanksgiving images. You could do all Christmas images. If you wanted to create one of these maybe to learn your shapes or your colors, you can do that as well. Today though, I think I'm just going to do some different vegetables and fruits just to be fun. So I'm going to start by making a pumpkin, and remember, whatever I put in this top square also has to go in this bottom square. Okay, whatever I put here has to go here, and this crease right here is going to be like my line. So I don't want to make it any bigger than this box here, okay? So I'm going to start with my big pumpkin shape, kind of a nice squat oval shape. And then I'm going to make the stem And I think I'm gonna give him some, I'm gonna wait on that, and I'm gonna do some lines for my pumpkin. Now, if you want, you can put a face. I'm just gonna make a regular pumpkin. So down here, I'm gonna do the same thing. And remember, if it's not exactly the same, that's okay, but it needs to be close enough or recognizable enough that people, whoever you're playing with, you and whoever you're playing with, will recognize it as the matching image. Okay, so you can see that I have two images the same in each box. Now notice this one looks kind of more like a beach ball, but that's okay. You can tell that it is a pumpkin, especially when I get it colored. So as long as it's pretty close, it's all right. So that's my pumpkin. Now I think I'm gonna do an apple. So for an apple, I'm gonna give it kind of a divot right here. And then I'm gonna make it kind of big and have it come down like that. And then I'm gonna give it a long stem with a big leaf. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same. You really just want kind of the indication that it's the same, so you can see that. Now I think I'm gonna do some grapes. So I'm gonna make these really easy with circles. I'm just gonna do some big circles here. And I'm just gonna give it a little stem and kind of a grape leaf. Kind of leaf, I don't know. Okay, and then again, I'm gonna do circles. Give it a stem. And then just do kind of a, I think I'm gonna change that and just do regular leaf. How about that? I decided I don't like the way that this looks, and that's the beauty of using a pencil. You can always just go back and erase it if you don't like it. And I didn't like that, so I'm gonna do a leaf. And I think I'm gonna put one on both sides actually, because I think that'll look nice. I'm gonna kind of cover up the mistake I made too. Okay, so now I've got my grapes, and I don't know what I should do for my last fruit. What do you think? Maybe a pear, huh? I like pears. So for a pear, has kind of a big bottom shape, and then it comes up to kind of a shorter top shape. Do the same thing down here. I'm gonna make kind of a big bottom shape, and then give it kind of a shorter little top shape. I didn't quite get that rounded. There we go, that looks a little better. All right, and then I'm gonna give it a stem and a leaf. And I'm gonna give it a stem and a leaf. All right. Okay, so once you have all of your images pretty much how you want them, then you can take your marker and you can outline your shapes. And I'm gonna start with my pumpkin. So I'm just gonna take my marker, fill that in all the way around. And don't worry if you don't get it exactly perfect, because you can go back over it and erase it. So actually, I'm just gonna kind of make this one a little bit bigger. Just gonna outline it the best that you can. And there you go, just keep going. All right, so now I've got my grapes. Just gonna outline all these circles. Okay. Get my stand. This is probably the part of this craft that takes the longest, is all of the outlining. I'm just a firm believer in kind of using pencil first because you never know. And it does make it easier to kind of adjust. But even when I use my marker, sometimes I'll readjust how something looks. Just because I might like it better the second time I do it. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and come around here. Get that done. Get my pear shape all done here. Alright, perfect! So now that you have your shapes kind of outlined, you can see I still have some pencil marks that are really visible. And since I don't want those to show, I'm going to take my pencil with my really good eraser and I'm just going to go back over all of the places that I don't want my pencil to show. And I'm going to erase it as much as I can. Go back over this, just anywhere that there's pencil. Over them. You can just go over them picture by picture if you want. That's the importance of having a pencil that has a really, really good eraser so that you can get a really good erase on that. And then once you color it in, a lot of the pencil that was in, maybe inside of where you traced, is actually not really going to show if you have a pencil with a really good eraser. If your pencil doesn't have an eraser, then you're probably going to want to be really, really careful when you trace it. Make sure that you don't let any of the pencils show. All right, so now I've got all my images pretty much erased, and I'm going to go ahead and start coloring them. So for my pumpkin, I think definitely I'm gonna go with orange. And I'm just gonna fill that in. Kind of using the outline as a guide. But remember, if you go outside of the picture, that's okay. That's okay. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for something unique and original. I say that in all my videos because it's true. I'm not an artist, as you can probably tell by these fruits and vegetables. I didn't go to art school, never really learned how to draw properly, I guess. So yeah, I'm not really an artist. I just draw what I like the best that I can. So anybody can be an artist. I firmly believe that as well. Everybody has some drawing talent. Everybody. All right, and then I'm gonna add some little vines to my pumpkin, just because I like how that looks. There we go. You see I got one down. There's my pumpkin, looking pretty cute. Now I gotta do my apple. And when I'm gonna eat an apple, usually I really prefer to eat a red apple. I like it nice and crunchy and sweet. So I am going to color my apple red. Just gonna get it. It's looking pretty good. Pretty good. If you want your apple darker, you can go back over it, pressing a little bit harder with your crayon, and you can get that, real dark kind of sheen. Okay, and let me see, for my stem, I think I'm gonna copy the stem on my pumpkin and use this kind of brassy brown color. It's a good color. In fact, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and color all my stems. It's kind of brassy brown color, just save myself a little bit of time since I like that color so much. All right. And I'm gonna fill in my leaves with this beautiful green. I like that really green color. Really nice green. All right. And there I've got my apples. What am I gonna color next? Grapes. So I'll go ahead and color my leaf, my grape. Got 2 leaves actually. My grape leaves. Grape leaves actually have a little bit of a ridge on the edge. But for the purpose of this, I'm just gonna color them like that. Now let me see here. I want a really good, true purple. I'm gonna go with this one. Oh wow, that's a good purple. That is a really good purple. This definitely looks like grapes. But grapes, you can have red grapes or green grapes. What kind of grapes do you like? What kind of apples do you like? I like green apples too, but I really like red apples. I also like to put caramel with my apples, especially if they're green apples, because green apples are kind of sour, so it tastes good to have that caramel. All right. Now I've got 3 of my fruits. What's my last one? A pear. And pears are green, but they're kind of a funny color green. So I think I'm gonna try this color here. This one is called Fern, but we're gonna give it a shot. Yeah, that's kind of perfect. Pears are kind of more of like a sort of a yellowish green kind of a color. But this is a pretty good shade. Now I have never seen, no, I take that back. I have seen a brown pear. I'm not sure I've ever really seen like a red pear though, but they might be out there, who knows? Okay. And then of course, I need to color our leaves with this nice darker green. All right. Pretty cool. So now I have my 8 fruits and vegetables. So let me ask you a question. What 2 fruits on here grow on a vine and not on a tree? Do you know? If you said pumpkin and grapes, then you are right. Pumpkins and grapes grow on a vine. Pears and apples grow on a tree. Good job. All right, so I have this ready to go, and now we need to cut them out. So using the lines that we folded earlier, these nice little fold lines, I'm gonna use that as a guideline, and I'm just gonna cut out the square. All right, so we have those two. And then we'll cut along this guideline. And this guideline. All right, now we still have this other guideline at the bottom, so we need to cut them that way too. I'm going to cut them and then I'm going to set them aside. All right. So now you should have 4 piles in front of you. 4 piles with 2 of each, right? Perfect. And we're going to just set those aside. Now, for the card backs, we need to do the same thing that we did to our white paper. We're going to take our dark paper. We're going to fold it in half, lining up the edges the best that we can, making a nice strong crease, and then take it and fold it in half again. Making a nice strong crease, and then picking it up and folding it in half one last time. And again, making a nice strong crease. There you go. Now we're going to unfold it. And just like with our white paper, we're going to cut along those crease lines. The thing that I like about using construction paper is that it is a little bit thicker than regular paper, so it really gives you a little bit of a good reinforcement for your card. So I really like using that. But if you don't have construction paper, lined paper or regular paper will work just fine too, but you will need to color it so that you cannot see the picture through it. Because otherwise that's cheating. Well, sometimes when you cut your cards, you might notice this edge where you kind of cut a little bit to the right or the left of where the fold was, so you have this kind of rough edge. If that happens, you can just recut it in a little bit from there and then just make a nice fresh cut right along that edge. The reason you don't want to have a little extra fold cut or something like that is because when you try to mix them up, they're going to get caught on each other, and that makes it kind of tough. And the other reason is because it makes it kind of a unique card. And remember, you don't want to cheat, and you don't want who you're playing with to cheat either. So you want to be sure that if you have any of those kind of rough little edges, you go ahead and cut them so that you don't have anything that makes one card real distinct from the other when it is turned over. Okay? These two I did okay, I think. I got a little bit of a rough edge there. You can see that. So I can just recut that edge. No big deal. And now I've got a nice smooth edge, and that's what you want. Nice smooth edge on your cards. Just kind of check them as you go. Okay, now I'm gonna get this next one. Cut along this next line here. All right, and then cut that in half along the guide. And then I noticed too, I've got a little bit of that edge, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. Make sure you have that nice smooth edge on both sides. Okay. And then this one, I'm gonna need to cut a little bit too. I like the sound that the scissors make when they cut through the construction paper too. It's a very fun sound. All right. That one feels like it did pretty good. Okay. So once you're sure that your cards look the way that you want them, you should have this stack of cards here. And now we're going to take our images and our glue stick. So what I like to do, you have a choice. You can put it on there completely like this if you want, or you can cut it down to just the image. It's really your choice. I kind of like to kind of cut it in sort of a square, as close to the edges as I can get without cutting my actual picture. So I'll end up with something kind of like that. So we started with something that looked more like this, and then I just cut it a little bit closer so it looks like that. And I am going to take this, put some glue on here. And I'm gonna stick it right on there. Yay! And it doesn't matter if it's not exactly even, you just don't want any part of it to show. So when it's face down, it's gonna look like this, but when you turn it over, it's gonna look like that. So yay, we have our first card. So we're gonna set that down. Now let's do the next one. We got our piece. I'm gonna look at my photo here, or my image that I drew, my picture. All right, get that cut out into a nice little square. Get some glue on my card, on my construction paper, and glue that pumpkin on there. All right, I now have one set of cards. Woohoo, there's one set right there. Now let's work on the next set. Apples. So I've got my big apple piece. I'm going to cut this off. Okay, so now I've got a little square. Looking pretty good. Apple on there. All right. That's one sharp looking apple, isn't it? Let's get this one. good. Like that. Yay, now I have my next set. I have my 2 apples. All right, this is getting great. So exciting. As you're doing this too, it's a good time to kind of check your work on your black cards and just make sure your black squares and make sure that you don't have any creasing or other kind of identifiable mark on the actual card that will tell it apart from other cards. Just make sure they're all the same. Because you know if you're going to play this game with your mommy or daddy, if you're really good at memory, they're going to be trying to look for a way to beat you at it, right? They're going to try to win. So don't give them anything to help them win. Make it hard. All right, so there's our first pair card. Let's do our next card. Oop, and I can see right here I've got a little bit of a curled edge on that one. So I'm just going to cut that little bit off. Not letting my mom win today. It's not happening. All right, some more glue. All right, we have our third set of cards. There's our pairs, they look great. All right, our last set of cards. Do you remember what fruit it is? Grapes. Right. Let's get some glue on here. All right, there's our first grape card. Let's make our very last card. All right. All right. All right. And there is our last pair there, our grapes. So exciting. So we now have grapes, pumpkins, apples, and pears. Pretty cool, huh? And now I'm going to show you, once you have all your cards made, you might want to give them a few minutes to dry, but I'm going to show you how to play memory in case you don't know. So you're going to take all of your cards, put them face down, and you're going to mix them up. Okay, now you're going to put them out in front of you. And we know we have 8, so we're going to make 2 rows of 4, because 4 times 2 is 8, right? So there we go. Now we have these. So what you do is you're gonna take turns trying to make matches. So let's pretend that I'm playing with you, okay? I'm gonna have to do your turn for you since you're not really here, but let's play together virtually, okay? So usually the younger player goes first. I'll assume that it's you, okay? So let's see, you're gonna go first, so you're gonna turn it over, and it is a pair. So now you're gonna have to guess which one of these other cards do you think has the pair? And for you, I'm gonna guess this one. It's not, what is it? Grapes. But try to remember where those are. Okay, now it's my turn and I'm gonna think. I'm gonna try this one. What did I get? An apple. Which one of these other cards do you think could be an apple? I'm wrong. It's a pear. So I need to turn that over. Now, hopefully you remembered that the pear was here. And since I uncovered this card, you know it's a pear too. So once you get a matching pair, you get to keep those and set them aside. Now, because you won, you got a pair. You haven't won the game, but you made a pair. You get to go again. So let's see. You're gonna try this card. Grapes. Oh gosh, do I remember where the grapes were? Nope. That's a pumpkin, so that's not gonna work. Now it's my turn because you didn't make a match. I get a turn. There's an apple. I think I remember this card was an apple, and I'm right. So I get to keep that pair, and now I get to try again. That's a pumpkin card, isn't it? Oh, but I can't remember which one of these cards is a pumpkin. Ooh, was it this one? I don't know. I'm wrong. Yep. Now it's your turn. And you remembered that's a pumpkin. And which of these cards is the pumpkin? Do you remember? That one. Pumpkin. So you get to keep those cards, and because you made a match, it's your turn again. Grapes, and there's only one card to choose. Grapes, you get those too. You won the game, good job! And that's how the memory game works. You take turns guessing the cards. So if you want to play again, you just gather up all the cards, put them face down, shuffle them up, lay them out, take turns guessing them. If you make a match, you get to keep going. And whoever has the most cards at the end of the game wins. So that's my super easy memory card game. Now, if you want to, you can make 2 sets of this. You can take 2 pieces of white paper and fold them how I showed you, and 2 pieces of black paper and fold them how I showed you. And then you could have, instead of just 4 designs, you could make 8 designs and have a total of 16 cards and make it a little bit harder. You could do it that way too, right? But just to show you the basic idea, I have this one. I think, honestly, of all of these, this is my favorite image. I like pumpkins. I love that for this season. It's a great time. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a pumpkin. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a memory game with me. And if you make your own set of cards, show me in the comments. I love seeing what you guys come up with, right? And this month is International Games Day, so I hope you have a great time playing board games with your family, video games, or maybe even memory. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time for another fun craft. Have a great day and a great games day. Bye.